to you by Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the flim sauce with the awesome fave, with shafafa on the side.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. We're back on the Lunchbox, live, in person, from Batch New Southern Kitchen in downtown Fort Lauderdale. I'm Mike Mayo. That's Jeff Defo Tavares. That's Mike Lubie Lubitz, who's going to join us in a minute. And, I like these 2-day work weeks. Getting ready for it. Defo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I feel great. It's been beautiful out. And good to have you back, Mike Mayo, after your travels around various campuses here. Big-time colleges in Florida. Your daughter really played you like the tool that you are and had you going to schools that she had no intention of going to.
I finally figured it out that it was a 3-day excused absence vacation from her school in her last semester.
Very
She's got full-fledged senioritis.
Oh, wow.
A way to fleece me into going to different places, including a trip to Busch Gardens to ride roller coasters and visit her friends at University of South Florida in Tampa. We went to University of Central Florida in Orlando. No intention of going, but we just rode by Mickey Mouse another day, another couple $100 in meals, and ended up in Tallahassee, which we knew, like Barzini, all along. It was going to be Tallahassee all along.
State, sure.
And as you can see, I got the merch.
So you're the one that bought the Florida State dad thing?
FSU. It's probably in reverse on your screens here, but
There's still dust on the back. Where they
I got it.
Yeah.
I bought the shirt.
Nice.
Very comfy. It fits well. And Mike Lubie Lubitz, an alum.
I love it. My
Oh,
dad was
so
an
is,
old and
my
never
son's
bought an
wife,
FSU
yeah.
dad shirt.
And, I have some eating adventures to recount. I have other adventures. We're going to have some food right here laid down.
Oh,
I've
my
been
God,
trying to
look
be
at this.
very good.
Speaking of adventures.
But as they lay out the whole menu
that's all-
that,
that's
of course,
all him,
Lubie
that's all.
ordered,
Wasn't
we
the
welcome
whole-
everybody back. I don't know if the Let's Eat group has crossed the 150,000 threshold
I
yet.
think they're there.
I've been
But
monitoring
whatever
it a
that
little
is, it
bit.
looks dangerous.
And
look
we've
at
got,
that.
look at that.
Wow.
We've got the
I
jambalaya
got my
for
jambalaya,
Defo. We've
yeah.
got some fried chicken sandwiches. We've got, this is me now. I am making wiser choices. Salmon over here. Got the nice shrimp and avocado salad over there. I will be putting my blinders on and just going for the healthy stuff.
Actually,
But you can get all kinds of healthy stuff here, and even the stuff that, that
Look at these
jambalaya
things.
is good.
What are these
Well,
now?
those
I
are
don't
the
know, but
fried
we're going to
chicken.
replace some of this because I want everyone to be able to see.
Well,
on the
we've
thing.
got,
I mean, I guess I can do
their fried
what I've
chicken
been doing, I
sandwich.
guess.
They call it the Nashville Hot Chicken Sandwich, and then they've got like a mild version.
I just like that they brought two for each. I just wanted it on the, I'm going away, so I don't need a ton of leftovers.
You're going
today.
to the Dominican
Leftovers
Republic.
are yours.
I will be
today.
taking many of the leftovers because I'm here in town now, and I'm completely broke now that I see what all the fees are going to be and all the different registration and all the deposits. And
I was gonna make fun of you for wearing the FSU dad, and then I realized you guys are already putting money into her FSU career. So you are an FSU dad. So you
Yeah.
might as well own it already.
I've got skin in the game and lots of, unfortunately, going to be
Bills.
pretty
Oh
much
yeah,
all
bills.
my
Bills to pay. Yeah.
savings and cash in the
But she'll
game.
have a good time.
The good part is, though, that Florida prepaid college plan really comes in handy.
Yeah,
I
it's
did it
huge.
since the month she was born,
Nice.
and one of the few progressive things that we've done here in this state. But anyway, I don't want to get into politics. I do want to start with some real-world news today. This morning, we learned that O.J. Simpson, Orenthal James Simpson, died yesterday, apparently, according to his family in a statement. And I guess the question for us here, former sports guys, a lot of us had personal interactions with OJ. I know I did. Defo in a second. But is it R.I.P., rest in peace, or R.I.H., rotten hell, OJ Simpson? This is a very polarizing figure. You talk about polarizing restaurants, but the man, obviously a legendary athlete who then went on to have other things in his life where for all the fame, there was infamy. Jeff Defo Tavares, what were your feelings when you heard the news this morning?
A little surprised because he had just denied that he had any kind of illness. But then again, OJ's credibility was not very solid ever since we learned about his unfortunate just bizarre temper that we found out he had. And then 2 people are dead, in horrendous fashion. The trial, of course, one of the most historic things that ever happened here in this country. Amazing. The documentary on it is incredible. The guy that did the documentary, Lubie and I had him on.
Was that the People versus OJ?
Yes,
Yeah,
the good one, not the one that was on FX. The one that was up for like Academy Awards.
Tremendously well done. I had a few experiences with OJ. I was a vendor at Shea when he broke the record, the 2,000-yard mark. He did it at Shea Stadium and against the Buffalo Bills. The Jets were playing the Bills behind Reggie McKenzie. I had a pretty good angle on it, so I saw
that's
a real good view of the carry.
OJ, the athlete, the spectacular
The one that
Heisman
was
Award-winning,
covered a lot of
NFL
USC
rusher.
football, and OJ was always around the program there. But and then I waited on OJ. I've told this story many times. One of the few guys ever in history that I actually physically was out in the parking lot inquiring if there was something wrong with the service because the tip was so minuscule compared to the check that when we were waiting on very few tables there. You didn't turn over a lot of tables in this restaurant. It was a high-end restaurant in L.A.
Yeah.
And
that was at the Moroccan one,
the
right?
Moroccan restaurant,
Yep.
Dharma Greb, great place. And we had to go out
He
and
stiffed you?
He gave us like a 2% tip on what was a substantial check at the time. And we had to walk outside and we said, Mr. Simpson, how was your meal? And he said, it was great, man. We said, well, and how was the service? Was everything okay? And he said, you guys are the best, man. Hysterical. You're the best service I've ever had. And then my friend Spencer, who was part of the 3-man waiting team that we had in this section, looks in his hand, and he has OJ's like $2 in there. And he just looks at him with a pathetic look, and OJ was shamed into putting up another $5.
Well, considering the way he treated or mistreated some other waiters in the Los Angeles area, allegedly.
Yeah, well, what was good was that they had no silverware there in this restaurant. You ate with your fingers, which I don't know that Lubie experienced this when he was in Marrakesh there, but
No, not as
that's
much
the tradition. You
would
pull
think,
like
yeah.
a whole chicken apart with your fingers. You would love it because that
Yeah,
would
I've
be
done
your
it, yeah.
savage style of eating, but that's the way they do it. So there were no knives on the table.
No, well,
We
that's
didn't have
good.
to worry if OJ stole the silverware if he was going to get angry and but we didn't know that was one of his
So
tendencies.
No, he
here's
was
the
a
thing.
nice guy at the
Usually
time,
you
right?
say
Like, that's
right
the
after
thing.
somebody dies, it's too soon. You shouldn't do this. But this is a person, let's face it, a lot of people, even though he was acquitted in a criminal court of law, he was found liable and really culpable of 2 murders in a civil trial. He then also spent time in prison for a theft of
His own
apparently his
Heisman.
own
He stole a rubber
memorabilia.
Heisman. Unbelievable. 9 years for a rubber Heisman.
Complicated legacy. Obviously, the implications of his trial, it was a huge benchmark in American culture, race relations. The way you viewed that trial depended upon, a lot of things, your socioeconomic background, your racial background. But this was a guy, my experiences personally with him was a very affable gentleman when he was in the media. That's how I first met him.
Well, he was beloved for a
when-
reason.
when
That's the funny thing.
When
Like, he
I was
beloved.
when I was a rookie, sports writer at the Sun Sentinel, and I was covering the Miami Dolphins, and we were in that little Motel 6 room that they had, that was the press headquarters during their days when they trained at St. Thomas University. OJ was part of the NBC crews that would come in and work the games. And I remember one week he came in very hungover and mentioned it to us that how much he was hungover and how he was down in South Beach partying. But he was like one of the guys, and he was just like kibitzing with all of us in the press room. And I was like, wow, this is OJ Simpson. He's a pretty cool dude. Very affable. But again, at that time, he was starring in the movies with Airplane, that ridiculous, comedy series with Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, he was good.
And
Those were classic movies. What are you talking
What's
about?
funny is I actually liked him. Defo makes fun of Lynn Swan a lot. I liked OJ as a sideline guy. Like, he wasn't horrible.
sprinting through airports in Hertz commercials. I mean, he was accepted. Guy who is a star athlete in college, a career record rusher in the NFL with the Buffalo Bills, which was a pathetic team at the time, but he still got stardom and was beloved until that fateful night in 1994 when his, then ex-wife and Ron Goldman, a waiter, ended up dead, and he ended up implicated. And then I'll never forget the night of the Bronco chase. Where were you that night on June? I believe it was 16th or so.
I remember exactly where I
1994?
was. I was at the Stained Glass Pub, which was a famous place up here in Fort Lauderdale. I used to frequent it. I lived in a neighborhood there, and I just come back from a trip. I'd called a couple of fights on network TV, Prime Network, and I was watching. They were replaying those fights while I was sitting there with my wife at the time, and I'm watching.
Which wife number was that at the time? Was
probably one.
That was number
one?
2. Yeah,
Oh, it's two.
and,
Okay.
So we're sitting there
Nothing
watching
incredible.
TV, and then all of a sudden, I never watch myself doing anything or listen back to anything. So I'm watching this, going, all right, not doing a bad job there, DeForest, Mr. Don Dunphy.
There you go.
And sure enough, in the middle of like the round 6 of the first fight, off that goes, and here comes A.C. Cowens,
Cowens.
Al Cowens.
Cowens,
Cowens,
and OJ in the white Bronco chase, and that was what was up there the rest of the time. So,
Jeez,
Well,
bro.
I remember the night very distinctly because I was at the U.S. Open Golf Championship.
Oh, that's
that
funny.
year, it was played at Oakmont, Pennsylvania. It was Arnold Palmer's hometown home course. And I was in the media hotel, had a press lounge because a lot of the national and international press stayed at one hotel. And this was back in the days when the contingents would get together after the rounds were over, after all the deadlines were done. We'd hang out in these press lounges at the hotel, have a couple of beers. That night was supposed to be NBA Finals, and there was an NBA Finals between
Yes.
the Knicks and the
Right,
Houston
right.
Rockets.
Yep.
And we were all watching that
It was a
game.
great-
I was in
it was
a
actually a
group.
great
It was
final.
all-star group of sports writers. Rick Riley from Sports Illustrated, who at the time was like one of the
It was
preeminent
prime time
voices.
that time. Yep.
Dan Jenkins, his own self, legendary
Classic, yeah.
writer,
Oh, wow.
golf writer. We were all in this press room. I was kind of the kid reporter.
You're probably young then. Yeah.
But I was hanging out. I was a full-time golf beat writer at that point.
Oh, wow.
And we were watching the game, and all of a sudden they cut in. Tom Brokaw cuts in with this scene of the Bronco chase. But to sit in that room, and again, remember that night, we thought OJ was going to off himself right then and there.
That was the whole thing. That's what Al kept saying, right?
And that he was holding a gun to his head. They were slowing down. They let him go back to his house, and they ended up talking him out of killing himself back then. But I'll never forget, I was in a press room with all these legendary sports writers who knew OJ
They probably
intimately,
dealt with him. Yep.
and yet their reaction was very dark humor. I mean, it's just
Oh, really?
to sit
That's
there
funny.
and got
Well, Riley,
Jenkins
Rick
is
Riley.
cracking wise, and that
it
just
seemed
shows you.
inconceivable, though, that this guy was. We didn't know about the violence that was going on between him and Nicole Brown Simpson
Like a long
before
time.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, which was well documented and largely sloughed over by the LA police because of the popularity and the general likability of O.J. Simpson.
And now we've got
I had
no
you. I
visit
know
to
we
batch
don't need it.
would be
but-
complete
Oh, my.
without
You have to have the
drop
biscuits, I mean-
You had to do that to
Looks
us?
like they
I'm
got
sorry.
a new
Yeah.
jam and jelly now.
They
Looks
switched
like,
out the jam.
There you
which is
go,
great.
man.
Like what
There
kind is
went
it?
his
It's a
raspberry.
raspberry.
Right out
We
the
love
window.
We
The
love the
minute you put
raspberry.
that
Sorry, I
down.
know we didn't need it.
I'm trying to go carb
I'm
free,
not going
but
to come here.
No,
and
you're
not
going
do
to have some of
biscuits.
that.
Sorry.
Come on.
hey, I know this is a food show, but I did want to get into OJ because we do talk sports and
Yeah.
and
Oh, it's a-
carnival,
it's a
and
life
this
event
is a
right now.
local figure.
You don't have to
because
He, like,
justify the
lives here.
content on the show.
No,
He, like,
I
lives
don't.
here.
It's your show.
I do believe that in his later years, I know for sure that in order to escape the full judgment of $31 million civil fine, or the compensation that he was supposed to pay to the Goldman family, that he came to Florida, where of course you have protections for your home and some other things to hide assets.
Yes.
I believe he lived here in the Fort Lauderdale area. I believe, I know that my ex-wife, Michelle, went 1 year for her birthday with my daughter to the Lobster Bar on Las Olas, and who was sitting at the very next table over but one O.J. Simpson. And they let everybody alone, but my wife obviously doesn't have great feeling. Ex-wife doesn't have great feelings towards somebody
Oh, no.
who was accused of those
and
things.
it was hard to accept.
But the other thing I'll never forget is in the late 90s, after he lived down in the South Miami area, but he would hang out at Gulfstream all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he
I
must
didn't
have
know
been-
that.
I saw
was
him
sort of-
at Gulfstream dozens of times in the mid to late 90s after the acquittal. And what kind of shocked me, but I guess now doesn't surprise me, the way people would flock up to him like he was some
Yeah.
revered godlike figure. Women, men asking for autographs. This was
pictures,
before
everything.
cell phones, so
Yeah.
we didn't have the selfies, but it was people approaching him. And he was still his genial self to those who came up to him and were like fawning over him. And it was at that point that I realized that in America today, there is no difference between fame and infamy.
No, yeah, not even at all.
And
do you
that
mean?
the most important thing is to be known for
Be known.
something.
Be known.
And it doesn't matter if it's the worst thing in the world. You can be an inveterate liar and con man who makes his way to the highest office in the land and is indicted multiple times and standing trial multiple times. People still will love you. And
no, he was seen around South Florida all the time, and people see. I would have been a little because whatever you think about that day, it seemed like he did it, and he got in a lot of issues after that. So it never seemed like he was in his right mind after that. So you would always hear stories of people going up to him, and I was like, I don't know if I'd run up to him. It feels like he was a little off. So I don't know. Yeah, but people saw him as the guy before all the issues and just wanted to be near him, and that never went away.
What struck me also physically was the man had the largest head and the largest hands I've ever seen. And also, you wonder all those licks that he took in football. Back then in the late 90s, he was hobbling. His knees were shot, arthritis. And it also goes to show you the price you pay for playing professional football. And who knows if there was any damage to his brain. And that might have triggered something. Not that there's any excuse for murdering two people, but
sorry to overlook.
No,
it really is.
I'm not saying overlook it, but I'm just saying maybe he did have some of these CTEs.
He was a celebrity guest when what was it? Was it WQAM? Yeah, when QAM first really got on the scene. There it was in that time in the early '90s, and he was a celebrity guest at one of their golf tournaments, and that met with the same kind of commentary and reaction that your Roger Stone interview did.
I hear he had a wicked slice, that OJ.
Yeah. We weren't waiting on you for that joke, but it was amazing. I mean, everybody, there was nothing but adulation for this guy. Yeah, people just completely overlooked the fact, as you were mentioning, kind of implying about a certain politician, that they just overlooked all of the, in one case, indiscretions, but in this case, impossible to overlook that the guy in cold blood murdered two people.
Well, it is right in the, everybody said, what's the first line of an obituary is going to be O.J. Simpson, the Heisman Award winning NFL Hall of Famer who was,
a controversial trial,
who was acquitted of double murder, but later found liable of those murders in one of the most spectacular, criminal
that's the
cases
thing. Like a lot of the time when
century.
People who were questionable pass, everyone remembers the good. He's one figure that I feel like people won't have problems focusing on sort of the negatives, because it ended up being a big part of his life. The last half of his life was sort of a mess. So I feel like a lot of the times, like a Ty Cobb passes and he had some issues, but people focus on the great baseball player that was. Like, I feel like with OJ, it's pretty clear the issues he had. And I feel like people aren't going to run away from talking about it.
It's going to make Pete Rose look like a piker.
For sure. He's like,
we made a couple of bets on the Reds. Who cares? Yeah.
Right. Hey, you know what? Let's take our first break, and hopefully we can get Kevin.
I'm going to ask you about this, before you even do this.
Okay.
Because you've been there, and we were trying to figure this out. And you would be the guy that would say that this was a good thing, the pimento and cheese sandwich at the Masters.
Okay. You want to get into the Masters right now?
I do a little bit, just from the food angle, because now is the Hooters that John Daly signs autographs with, is that like considered a 3-star Michelin restaurant? What's the deal with pimento and cheese, my friend? And are you going to tell me
he's enamored by it? I don't know what to tell you.
He's peppering me with questions. I have many thoughts of Augusta, where I spent some of my fondest weeks of my sports writing career. I went there a total of 14 times.
Oh, wow.
It's okay to wax poetic here, too.
I covered one of them for the Spartanburg Herald-Journal in my first full-time job. That was in South Carolina.
Imagine that. You read some rinky-dink newspaper and you're there in the Masters.
I was, because it was a local event for us. It was a 90-mile drive, and we got a press badge, and I'll never forget. That was back before.
Did they question it when you got there?
No.
Oh, okay.
What I remember, it was a much more quaint and regional event. I mean, yeah, the International Press Corps came in, but it was not. Sports was not this glorious thing. We had the press quarters back then was this old Quonset hut with a tin roof. So every time there was a rainstorm, which was frequently, you couldn't hear yourself think at your typewriter because the rain was pounding on this tin roof. And that first year, it was the Scott Hoke choke in the playoff versus Nick Faldo.
Ooh.
Nick Faldo won the second of his, I believe, back-to-back. It was 89, April of 89. And then later that year, I moved to the Sun Sentinel, and I covered the next 13 Masters for the Sun Sentinel, both as golf writer and columnist.
That's crazy.
And
what, you ace out Dorman or something?
Well, Dorman was there and then went to the National, and then Larry went to the New York Times. And I was there as both golf writer at first, and then I graduated to becoming general columnist, and then Randy Mell was the golf writer, and those were glorious days.
He was brilliant.
Tim Rosefort, rest in peace. He was at started off at the Palm Beach Post. He was actually at the Sun Sentinel, and then he went on to greater fame and glory in the national publications and finally NBC. But anyway, it was great back in those days, covering all those. It's my favorite week of the year by far, going into the gates, the pearly gates of Augusta National.
Great atmosphere, no doubt.
And walking through there. And okay, so Augusta, Georgia, hometown of James Brown, had some decent restaurants, some places that you could go for a civilized meal downtown. There was
it because they had Augusta National, so they had to sort of have something
it was
there?
a combination of things. It's a town that at the time I guess had like 60,000 people, and there is there are good decent restaurants in towns of 60 to 100,000 throughout the South. And so when I was there, I remember there was one place called, I don't know if it was called the Green Turtle or something downtown, where you get some good Southern food. Again, they'd have some jambalaya and stuff. But yeah, along Washington Road, which is out on the outer fringes where Augusta National was nothing but fast food joints. The Hooters, where John Daly now makes a living. The Waffle House, where I would end up invariably after writing 4 stories on deadline on Sunday night, and would be the only place open at 11:30 at night. Where one year I found Julius Irving, Dr. J, hobnobbing with a couple of Hooters waitresses that he brought to the Waffle House.
Good for him.
Doctor, great American.
And but and then there was the places like the Olive Garden, the Carrabba's. We had our chain steakhouses, and so that was what we would eat during when the rounds were over. But on the grounds, everything in these green wrappers, the cheapest ballpark or what you call sporting venue food on the planet.
That's one of their features.
It's interesting that they keep it that way.
Egg salad was 75 cents.
75 cents. Wow.
Really?
They had the pimento.
You can't even get a pen and pencil set
into the 90s or late 90s.
I was never a fan of pimento cheese, but I would always eat egg salad in the morning until about noon. And then I would switch over to, they had these little like Chick-fil-A sandwiches.
Yeah, well, George is the home of Chick-fil-A.
They had Chicken-fil-A sandwiches there that they sold for like $2 or $1.50 and went up to $2. But they also had them in the press room for free. Crates and crates of them. So I had to restrain myself. And I did like their ham and cheese sandwiches too.
Oh, they had that too? Okay.
Yeah, they had ham and cheese.
I thought it was just pimento
turkey,
cheese.
Pimento, egg salad, and the mother load was the chicken fillet sandwiches.
Oh, okay.
So
have you tried? You have to try this because it's
no,
a
I
great
don't.
variation.
We've had it before.
Because
We've
I've
had it
it.
before.
I love it, and I am going to embrace.
They weren't
the new
supposed
meat.
to give us all. It was supposed to just be out here.
I tell you what,
people want your opinion on this.
I tell you what, I will try one of these wings. We have not had this before.
Right.
We have never had their wings, and we've never had their salmon. This is an interesting.
A nice fried.
Yeah, you can down that whole piece
It's actually
of salmon
breaded.
down
I haven't
there.
had a breaded chicken wing in forever. Everyone just does it.
You haven't even addressed the salad yet.
Very nice.
But I like the way they did the chicken on the chicken sliders.
All right, here's what we got to do.
It has a nice kick, and I feel like that's something they're going for with the Nashville Hot Chicken Sandwich.
We're going to take our first
Sliders.
break. We're
Yes,
going to
sir.
cut up some of these different various things. I might even take a little piece of the hot
Yeah, you
chicken.
can try
I think
it.
you need to
Yeah,
try that,
you
Mike.
could-
And
I think they've stepped it up a little.
before we do that, we're going to put in the good word for our friends at Delaware Chicken and Seafood
Yes,
Farm
next
Market.
Thursday.
When
we'll
are we
be there,
going
right?
back?
Next Thursday.
We're going to be there a week from today,
Yes.
and we're going to be talking about the upcoming Passover holiday. We're going to be talking and maybe eating their great house-made gefilte fish. I know I will. I know Defo won't.
Two to three of you, us will be doing that. Yeah,
They make great chopped liver there.
Segredo's a big gefilte fish man.
And
I will-
Yeah,
I will
They have
definitely eat some gefilte.
the greatest poultry, and
For
they'll
beef.
have brisket and things everything you need for your Passover Seder table.
Yep.
And along with, if you don't celebrate the Jewish holidays, they'll have everything you need for your table during the upcoming playoffs are almost here. And this weekend, why not go get some stuff for the grill, some great seafood for a Masters watch party Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a great weekend, and we're coming into the final weeks of stone crab season. Hard to believe it ends May 1st.
wow.
So get in there, 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood. They're open 7 days a week. The website is DelawareChicken.com. Better yet, go in there because it is a beautiful store. Fabulous display cases. Jose and Gene do a great job. You get in and out real fast, so efficient, the best products, quality, value, and efficiency. That is the Delaware way. They've been doing it since the 1950s, and tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All right, we're going to see what we can get Mike to eat here. It's getting more and more difficult on the show to handle this guy, but we're coming back. Batch Southern Kitchen, unbelievable. And Kevin's going to join us, one of the more inspirational guys in this or any business. So we'll be back with more in a moment.
For an exquisite sushi experience, Kaizen Sushi Bar and Grill in Fort Lauderdale is the place to go.
5640 North Federal Highway, just north of Commercial Boulevard. Chef owner Hui Lam, he's a sushi savant, slicing and serving pristine fish and seafood flown in directly from Japan and around the world. Nigiri, sashimi, special rolls, and omakase dinners. He's ruined me from going anywhere else. It's that good. Open 7 days for dinner and also for lunch. Even if you're not a sushi fan, they have great cooked options, including steaks, chops, rice and noodles, and other Japanese dishes. It's fantastic. For reservations and information, go to kaizenflorida.com. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk, and soon in Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new birria tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open-face smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo, the Lunchbox, sent you. For Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and be happy. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 in the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Okay, we're back on the Lunchbox, live at Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, 525 North Federal Highway. Another gorgeous day. We have people walking along, just kind of admiring.
You see that guy with the body? I mean, that was a little bit shameful that we're sitting here stuffing our face while this guy is like looking like Jack LaLanne out there. But I got to say this, and I don't know, are you sort of an expert on biscuits? I'm not, but obviously everybody knows what they taste something good. That's as good a biscuit as I've had anywhere.
You didn't even have
at
the whole
any time.
one. Yeah, they do
and all of it, but I mean, just everything, and it has a little mayo quality of the crunch that you would like. I mean, it's definitely really, really tasty.
I do love it. It's not necessarily part of my new regiment, but I cannot resist this.
I think you have to try it.
This crunchy top, because what they do here, they call it the drop biscuits, and it's a classic, just
great, man.
Buttermilk biscuit. I call them drop dead gorgeous biscuits because they are beautiful. And they have they serve it in this skillet, cast iron skillet. They come out fluffy on the inside, crunchy on the outside. They have a little bit of I believe it's like a honey butter, sometimes a honey jalapeno butter.
You could go into the deepest part of the deep south, and you could even be Bobby Bowden on a recruiting trip and not get a biscuit that tastes that good.
Yeah, speaking of Bobby Bowden, his name's still revered in Tallahassee. I was up there
Absolutely.
yesterday.
As it well should be.
And his name and likeness is emblazoned on lots of coffee, like mugs and shot glasses and things that are in the bookstore. I didn't buy any of the Bobby paraphernalia, but yeah, that talk about classic Southern. I mean, that Bobby Bowden was a one-of-a-kind classic. Love dealing with him. And I love dealing with these batch drop biscuits. I am going to take a bite of this now. I did assemble a plate because it would be rude of me for them. You know, they assemble this lovely, lovely lunch. And you guys, if you haven't been out here for lunch or the weekend brunch, dinner, 7 days a week here, they really do a terrific job. And they got high praise on the Let's Eat group over the weekend. My daughter was reading me a post as we were on the road trip. She's like, "Oh, Dad." I was like, "What?" She goes, "Somebody wrote the nicest thing about batch." And it was a woman who has a son that has celiac disease. Obviously, that's it's nothing to be trifled with. Where you cannot have any gluten.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just gluten-free by choice. It causes serious harmful impacts if you have any wheat or if anything is cross-contaminated with gluten. The woman made arrangements to bring her son in here for a family celebration. She told them that my son has celiac, needs to be kind of made sure everything is just so. And she said the service they got here, that I think it was Kevin himself or maybe it was Brandon, one of the other managers, but made sure, before when they first sat, that everybody was okay. They assured them that there was being, their special requests were being accommodated. And then even the chef came out before the main courses arrived and said, "I just want to let you know, I was extra mindful. There was no cross-contamination. We used fresh utensils and, for all the preparation." And that's the kind of thing where just like it blew the woman away. It made a lifelong fan of the family and the son. They had a great meal here. And not only that, but then there was all these comments apparently on the Let's Eat thread saying, "Wow, that is the kind of service and care and compassion that I want. I got to come check this place out." And I'm very fortunate that Kevin asked us to come check the place out because it is totally Lunchbox approved.
Well, and I like that they went again so often. Defo tries to remind you of this, but you are the ones letting things in, stopping things a lot of the time. So you see a lot more negative things than some of us see. And again, as anyone who knows how social media works, algorithms and attention is what pushes thing out, right? Well, the negative seems to get a lot more attention, so it pushes things out. But the reality is a lot more positive happen at restaurants than negatives. I appreciate this person because, look, I have great experiences all over the place. Sarni's been on my rear for commenting on my experience at Heritage Saturday, and I feel bad because we love Reno, and we're actually going to do more Reno, and my wife is telling me I have to do a Reno TikTok. Well, it's fantastic, obviously. Yeah. But I don't think, good or bad, I don't think to post anything because to me, it was my own experience. I don't think to do it, but I appreciate someone who does. I appreciate someone that had a great experience. Look, and Kevin and the group here don't do it for that. They do it because that's just how they do their job. Sarah's running around, kicking butt, helping us.
They call it the hospitality business for a reason. They like to help people out. They like to be hospitable. They want people to be happy. They want to see smiles. They don't want to see people bitching and moaning. And the easiest way to do that is provide a really satisfactory experience. And I'm glad that things worked out for you at Heritage. Did you get the Mayo discount or how did that
I don't know. Reno got there halfway through the meal. I don't really look for things like that. I just wanted to make sure he was there so she could meet him because anyone who's watched our shows knows Reno is an experience. Reno, not only his heritage, but Reno himself is an experience. And my wife married me, so she's open to experiences. So I wanted her to get to experience all that is Reno, and he was telling her all his stories, and because she works.
I tell you what, for all his the way he could come off as, let's say, a fairly brusque and abusive character online in response to people who are brusque and abusive to him and his staff. Yeah, he is the nicest, sweetest guy.
He's a sweet dude.
He is so good. When you come in his house, that's what his dining room is.
Yes.
And you comport yourself well, he will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that you're happy. And if something's not to your liking, he's going to fix it. And that's the way most people are. Kevin here is totally like that. He must have gotten engrossed in a very
he has a meeting going on,
a big meeting. But I got to dive into this biscuit. I'm sorry.
Well, so anyways, so my wife, who's in digital marketing, who deals with businesses and can't
I'm sorry, that's so freaking.
tell
cool.
her how they feel. Well, it's my favorite biscuit in South Florida.
That's
It's one of the
so
best I've ever had. So I've told her what Reno said. Reno is telling her some of the things he said. I'm like, yeah, he's throwing dough at people. And she's like, there's no way. He's like, no, I'm telling you, I've done it.
He's kicked them out in the middle of meals, but they've done what.
There's been reasons for them,
Right.
him to do it. Yeah.
Right. And the other patrons usually applauded.
Everyone's happy. Look, it was
my mom's
lunch.
doctor who was there with her teen daughter the night where he threw out an abusive patron, and everybody stood and
Standing
applauded when he tossed the guy who was being a jerk out. You know, I'm a big believer in karma. What you put
Yeah,
out
for
in this
sure.
world, you get back. So if you
It was lunch on a Saturday at 2, and there was a line. The place was packed, and there was literally people waiting outside, and they were okay waiting outside to get in. So obviously he's doing something right.
All right. Meanwhile, on to batch here. I have assembled a plate, Defo, because I know you and the audience will be disappointed if I don't sample some of the food. I've made myself my little vintage 3-year-old's child plate. Want to describe? I got my shrimp and avocado salad with a little bit. They brought us 2 dressings. One was, what was it again?
There's a horseradish, and I asked for a citrus. They do a citrus lime vinaigrette. And I know we're all watching our waistline.
Because
So
I like a little bite. And I'm
There you
going in now. I got the nice properly grilled shrimp with the horseradish dressing. That tastes like spring. It's green, it's light, it's springy. And it makes me think of Augusta National when I have something. So does the chicken. And thank you. What did you advise me to do as my dietitian and co-host now? What should I do? How can I eat this in a way that I won't feel?
Eat half the bun.
Yeah.
There you go. If you eat the bun at all.
I removed the half.
yeah, because Defo I think ate it without the bun, which is fine. I mean,
It's great. It's so tasty. I'm tempted, though, because of the way they did the bun.
The bun's nice.
It looks great. I mean, I definitely want to take a bite of that.
Is there anything that is like the perfectly
They did
toasted?
it perfect.
Yeah.
It looks like the outer edges of the eclipse the other day when the moon going over the sun. That's a very, very handsome bun.
But if you're looking for a tasty piece of like a chicken tender type of thing,
Yep.
Seasoned perfectly in terms of the heat that's on there,
Well, this
the mayo crunch, they did a tremendous job with this. Absolutely great.
yeah, they call this like the Nashville Hot Slider.
Really nice.
I think they were tinkering with it to make one really hot and one mild
Yeah.
to kind of go along with the different taste levels that people have. That's good. And you know what, to me, makes the whole thing? The pickle.
Yeah, the pickle's nice. I think they do it in house. They do their own pickles. They do some with the fire and ice pickles. They do a lot of different things, which is really cool.
And Defo, I will follow your advice. I had a couple of bites of the bun. The bun is fine,
That's
but
nice.
Eat the rest
Right
of it
now-
without it. Yeah, there you go.
I don't want to say the C word because I know you flip out.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
carbs are my
That's
enemy
fine.
right now,
right.
and I am just going to have a
I know
nice.
you're going through some stuff.
Mm.
We're here to support you, Michael.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
Oh, this is good. That's a great piece of.
There's the man
fried
right
chicken.
there. There's the
Here.
man responsible for this.
As I'm stuffing my face, we're going to
Uh-huh.
get the man, Kevin Danilo. I'm going to clear my mouth, clear my throat. Lubie's going to clear a seat and a space and hopefully clear his chicken bones because nobody wants to see that. But we welcome back to the Lunchbox. It's been a few months. Kevin D., how are you, my man?
We're doing
All right. Good to see you, Kevin. Always a pleasure.
How are things shaking?
good. Good.
You were engrossed. It must have been a big meeting. You got
Meeting.
big things on tap, right?
I was playing Sudoku.
Anything to avoid the Lunchbox. No, how are you, my friend? How's it been going lately? And man, I was telling people about that post. I don't know if you saw it on Let's Eat. The woman with the whose son had celiac, and you guys
Yeah.
took great care of him. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, this is what it's all about in the hospitality business, right?
I think hospitality at its core, it's about trying to make people feel special, appreciated. Any requests that they have to be able to treat them properly. But on top of it, our concept has always been kind of based around Southern hospitality, making sure somebody feels like they're a guest in your home. Especially when somebody has a situation like that, a kid that they're trying to take care of. And we know the restaurant business is hard, right? And we know some operators are very black and white with the way they do things. So we've always tried to make it a point that if there's a request that we can accommodate or make somebody feel appreciated, and it's okay to have something that you need special. It's not just being difficult to be difficult. It's health concern that they know that they can come in and we're going to pull our executive chef out of the kitchen. We're going to sit them down at the table and make sure that the dish goes out perfectly so that somebody not only can feel safe, but that it's okay. It's okay to have to ask for a little bit more.
Yeah, and now I'm seeing somebody, my girlfriend has some certain allergies. Can't have carrots, you can't have oranges, and some places just like think that it's just by choice. But no, when you have an allergy, you got to take it seriously and make sure things don't show up on the plate or not used at all in the preparation. And make sure you check with the kitchen that it's not in any of the sauces of the, when you're doing a braise and things like that. So again, I am very appreciative of how mindful you are, because never had any issues here in terms of when we have those allergies and special requests.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely hard. The executing the number of dishes that come out of a kitchen on a nightly basis or during a brunch or even a lunch service, it is difficult. The number of ingredients you have in a kitchen. So there are a lot of places that don't care. They just it's a difficult thing to accommodate, and they will politely say, hey, we're just not the right place. And I've never liked that approach. I can certainly understand it as an operator, but if I don't know.
Yeah.
What would the world be like if we just didn't do things that were hard?
Right.
You just do it.
You talk Southern hospitality here at Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap. That's what it's all about. But it's Masters Week, and Defo is obsessed with the Masters. I got to go 14 times to cover it as a sports writer. I didn't know if you do anything kind of as a nod to the Masters. Do you have any kind of pimento cheese sandwich specials or it's just kind of you'll have it on the TV screens and serve your lemonade and vodka, which is always popular around the clubhouse.
We will have it on all the TVs. Obviously, we have four stores. 2 of them are Southern Kitchen. 2 of them are pubs. Obviously, the pubs are much more sports based. We have UFC 300 this weekend, which is a huge fight.
Oh wow!
But generally here we don't get too involved with sports. So no food features for the Masters, but the Kentucky Derby is coming up, and that's kind of the one time we break our rule where you come out. And
What's your opinion of the mint julep? In all honesty, you guys deal with bourbon and whiskey and all kinds of stuff.
It's fun.
How would you rate it as a drink? Would you ever order one?
It's fun once a year.
Yeah,
it's fun when you wear a stupid hat and
exactly.
stupid clothes, and you go out with your friends and you because it's authentic, right?
Yeah.
Have I ordered one throughout the rest of the year?
Never.
Not my thing.
No, it's
Let's
not my
face
thing.
it, it's a horrible way to ruin perfectly good bourbon. I don't understand it unless you like mouthwash flavored drinks. But
It's
but
enjoyable.
you're gonna sell a lot of them on Derby Day.
It's mint's great. Whiskey's great. I mean, I wouldn't put it in a glass of Pappy and
no, God,
you know.
no, or even the Weller or anything like that. Yeah, but it is what it is, and we are approaching Derby time. I'm glad that you are into, obviously, with all the Southern spirits and the Kentucky bourbons and all that you got here. So it's a big day. What do you have on tap? I mean, first of all, you got your regular Whiskey Wednesdays that seem to be booming, right?
Yeah. Live music, great whiskey features. We'll bring in some educators, teach some classes, do some fun bottle releases that are super expensive, and we'll sell them at our cost. So that's kind of a cool way for people to be able to try things that they've never tried before. And then Derby, obviously, we do a big party. We'll get some TVs outside, have people dress up. We'll team up with the local charities, the Fort Lauderdale Whiskey Society, or different whiskey societies in the counties, and bring a bunch of people in, costume contests. We do a fun, if you pick the trifecta, if you get it, we give you $1,000 gift card.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I might not even pay $1,000.
Yeah.
That's something good.
I want to bet it
So
right
come
here,
on out.
Mayo.
Yeah, come on out and you win $1,000 gift card. So that's a lot of fun. And juleps it's fun for the event, right? It's like, have you guys ever been to Wrigley?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Wrigley's great. Have you ever had Old Style?
I don't think I have.
It's their cheap, crappy light beer, and it's absolutely amazing at Cubs, at Wrigleyville and Wrigley. But you go anywhere else, and you don't want it.
That's true. I've they have those rooftop seats across the way. I think I've never sat up there, but it's been a while since I've been to Chicago. But great place. Meanwhile, Let's talk about some of these. You got the Nashville Hot Sliders here. Did you kick up the heat on them a little bit? They
still in the works.
Yeah.
Still in the works. Where we are going to have the Mike Mayo secret. You'll be paying for it tomorrow version
this
of
one
Nashville Hot.
definitely had. You could
It
feel
feels
it.
like it's
good.
a little, it's a little bit more.
And the jambalaya, as usual, very much on point.
Awesome.
And we've got the salmon dish, which again, I'm trying to be healthier. Got the shrimp and avocado. All kinds of great options here for now that we're moving into the warmer spring and summer months.
The only thing wrong with this table I see here is of the biscuits, I don't see a complete
They haven't
biscuit.
they're wasting
Right.
my favorite biscuit in all of South Florida.
So
it's like the muffin top.
I
Well,
promise
it's
you, it'll
the
get eaten.
top of the muffin. Well, no, it's more. I've become accustomed to this thing that I think it's called the feats of strength.
there
Mike
you
Mayo
go.
Big Bite.
Oh, the big bite.
Oh,
yeah.
the big bite.
Well,
The first thing I noticed
my
is that
doctors have
half
gotten
bite it?
together and said that if I continue the big bites, do you see what happened to the Grandmaster Sumo Champion Akabono the other day? Unfortunately, did you see that?
No,
story?
I have no idea what you're talking
Also, a very
get that from Sonny?
untimely denial. No, I was reading the obituaries because when I went to the Olympics in Japan, Winter Olympics in '98, Akabono, Hawaiian-born, U.S.-born, first foreigner who achieved like the Grand Sumo status. He was revered, and he came to that Olympics. He was there, and he came through the press room one time. Big boy, 500 pounds. But unfortunately, he passed the other day at a way too young of age. But I love. You know what? All right, I'm gonna make. The
You
man
got.
happy.
You have
listen.
to accommodate Kevin here.
I
I
don't
want to
need
say
you to
this
get
about Kevin.
all month long. I wait for the Mike Mayo Big
All
Bite.
right. Before you do this, though, I have to pay homage to Kevin. I find him one of the most inspirational people that we've met on the Mike Mayo Lunchbox tour. The way that he talks about and got involved in the business, and the way that he runs his place and his other locations, just incredible. And you can easily see it reflected in the way all of these dishes come out. So always thinking, hey, if I was in business, I would want to be just like Kevin, handle myself the same way.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm going to do a big bite. We're going to take a break. Can you stick around? I need you to break talking about horse racing and the Derby. We have our weekly contest, and because I was away a few days, we need to do a tiebreaker where you're going to help me. You're going to pick either what's in my left hand or right hand. We've got two people in it.
Oh, nice.
But first,
My
I was
favorite
excited.
game,
I
Mike.
thought that was a bag of drugs.
What's
What is that? All right, here we
All
go.
right.
The big bite, Mike
wait,
Mayo.
can I remove the top bun and just work with the meat and the pickles?
No,
or I
come
got
on.
You're the
now,
boss,
you got to go
man.
all
Yeah,
out. You
go
got to
for
go
it.
all
It's
out.
What? That's okay.
This
Yeah,
is a
we're
modest
trying to
version.
keep you
Modest version. It's still
healthy
big
as
enough. This
possible.
bite. Oh my God! Watch your
gotta-
fingers.
Like the whole thing. Are
It's
you
like
doing that?
Secretariat
Really?
eating a sandwich.
You understand Val's
Unbelievable,
walking
yeah.
up. You're doing this as Val's
Oh
walking
my
up.
God, Val! This is disgusting.
No, no. That was the best timing in the history of the world.
That's great.
Val, who hasn't seen you in a little bit, is excited to see you, and this is what she will see
This is what she walks into.
as she
Kevin.
walks up.
when our customers
There
walk
goes the
in? This is
relationship.
what we want
There it
everybody
goes,
to
man.
see.
Oh my God! Hey, I guess she has to see you at your worst and at your best. You might
You'll
as
be
well.
hearing from Mayo's attorney.
Let's take a break.
Oh my God, that makes me so happy.
We'll be back for an exquisite sushi when the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye. You know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets, they've got eggs Benedict, they've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial. Serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course the kitchens are open late. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox, Mayo, and Defo sent you. Fish, a sophisticated setting. I'm talking about Corvina Seafood Grill. It's at 110 Plaza Real South in Boca Raton, just south of Palmetto Park Road. It's the place to go for the freshest and local seafood and fish, some of it with a Peruvian twist like their great ceviches. It's open 7 days for dinner. They also have happy hours 7 days a week. You don't want to miss it. It's a great place. CorvinaBocaRaton.com for more information and reservations. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. We're back on the Lunchbox. We better get Defo back in his position.
Was thrusting Val to make her debut on the Lunchbox.
Oh, I didn't realize that she's. Wow, welcome to the Lunchbox,
Defo
Val.
did that on his own.
Hi, welcome to the Lunchbox. I'm back in town. I haven't seen her in like 4 days, and now she's on the show. We've got Kevin. You know Val.
Yep. Good to see you again.
How you doing?
I'm Mark.
Good.
Great.
Having a good week. Well, we got to do a contest now. And Kevin, you're going to do the honors. Well, here's how it works. And, usually we do this. We take care of this on a Monday. It is the Gulfstream Weekly 10 Palms Sunday Brunch Buffet Contest, where if you have a winning restaurant, pick the winning horse, and then have the tiebreaker, which was in this week's case was the women's NCAA championship game. You had to give the winning team in the margin. Anyway, bottom line, the restaurant was Big Bear Brewing up in Coral Springs.
Yep,
I don't know if you've ever been up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that place.
One of the earlier forerunners of the microbrew movement, and again, a lot of people got that. A lot of people should have got the winner of the 8th race because there was a scratch and then it was a dead heat. So there were actually 2 winners: the number 5 horse and the number 6 horse, Direct Regresso and Watchtower. But after 3 out of 10 horses in the field would have been winners, only 6 people had that winning horse, the Watchtower. And then of those, it came down to the basketball game. 2 people had South Carolina beating Iowa by 9 points. The final margin was 12, but those were the closest. So Mark Balow, I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing.
I don't know how you pronounce it.
Mark Balow and Wayne Geller, congratulations. You guys are the finalists in the running for the Brunch for 2. And I'm going to also have a special wrinkle this week, but we will get to that in a moment. First of all, and of course I dropped them right on the ground. So
technically we only need one.
We only need one.
That's true.
That's the one in your hands, the one I selected, Mike.
That's the one he selected. Yeah. Okay, so oh my goodness! Now we've got everybody scrambling. What a week this was. Okay, he said this one, so that's the one it is. Congratulations, Wayne Geller. I think a first-time winner.
Congratulations,
of
sir.
A Brunch for 2 at 10 Palms. But this week there are no losers because thanks to Val, her generosity, she recently got a $100 gift certificate to Batch that she purchased at auction, the annual charity event, which we don't want to tell the whole story, do we?
Why not?
Oh, okay,
Go
go
you
for
met?
it.
Yeah.
Tell the story.
Same thing.
Oh, goodness.
Well, before we get to that,
but go
Mark
ahead.
Balow, your consolation prize is a $100 gift certificate to Batch that can be used for any meal, breakfast, lunch. I'm sorry, not breakfast,
No.
Brunch.
weekend brunch,
Saturday and
lunch,
Sunday.
or dinner. They're open 7 days here, right?
Open
Yeah.
7 days.
We just ask that you bring a love interest. because
Exactly.
that's what it should be used for.
And do a big bite.
And do a big bite.
Don't make
Exactly.
Just don't choke.
All right, so Mark Balow, you're going to get a gift certificate right here to Batch, Fort Lauderdale, New Southern Kitchen and Tap. And Wayne Geller, you have the all-day brunch buffet for 2 at 10 Palms on a Sunday of your choice. But you can make it next Sunday, April 21st. We're going to have our
Bash.
quarterly brunch bash where we get out there a whole bunch of us, including Lubie and Defo and me and Val, and it's going to be a fun time. And if you want to come out to that, just Tony Segreto will come out, and you should also come out to Batch on the Saturday, then come to the brunch bash on Sunday, and then you'll have a big time brunch doubleheader for that next weekend, the 20th and 21st. If you want to come out to the brunch bash, just email me, mikemayoeats@gmail.com, and just let me know the number of people in your party. No deposit required, and you'll just show up that day at noon. We'll be going from noon to 4. Better yet, come on out here to Batch this weekend, because you're serving brunch both Saturday and Sunday.
10 to 4. I'm always up at the host stand greeting people, so come ask for me. We'll take care of you.
Val, what did you think of the brunch here at
It's fantastic.
what's your favorite
I'm
item?
addicted to your shrimp
Shrimp Benedict.
Benedict. It's phenomenal.
Thank you.
You make very good hollandaise sauce as well. Pretty snobby about my hollandaise sauce, and you definitely won on that. You won me over with that one.
Awesome.
And the fried tomato.
Fried green
Fried
tomato
tomato.
as the English muffin.
Instead of
Yep.
It's
a muffin.
so brilliant.
That's a great
yeah.
Southern touch.
Yep.
I love it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Absolutely. Shrimp and grits are really great.
Shrimp and
too.
grits are fantastic.
All right, before we let Kevin go and before we take our final break, Kevin, what do we got? I know you're doing so much.
You do a lot of events.
Events and philanthropic work, working with some of the dog rescues, pet
Yep.
rescues. What's happening on that front?
So yesterday, actually, really cool. At our Delray location, we did a charity barrel pick, which we've talked about before. We basically bring in from our supplier partners a barrel of whiskey, and then every dollar that we raise from the sale of the retail bottles. So if you buy one of these bottles and take them home with you, every dollar from those bottles goes back to the charitable partner that we partnered with. So yesterday we did a barrel selection in our Delray location for 1792 bourbon. So we have a full proof 1792 barrel coming in.
I like that. That's a
It's
good bourbon.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best values of all full proof bourbons out. And the barrels the last 2 years have been incredible. And it's for Best Foot Forward, which is in Palm Beach County, and it goes to benefit kids that are in the foster system. So really, really great cause. What we always like to say is drink for the kids.
Yeah.
You know, so if you go buy a fancy bottle of bourbon, take it home, and your spouse yells at you, you say, "Hey, I'm drinking for the kids." You know, it's a good cause. So if you need to buy a fancy bottle of bourbon or just a good bottle of bourbon, come see us, and you know that every single dollar that you spend that's above the invoice cost is going to go to support. Generally, it's kids, veterans, and animals. So it's kind of the foundation's close to us.
I see
See
Val
your
is just like
Blandings.
Defo, very
Yeah.
attracted to
You're
the
the-
horsey on top of the Blanton's bottle. It's
I
Derby
actually have a
time
small
coming up
collection of
soon.
these, Yeah.
So again, how does that work on Derby Day? Where you have to submit like your trifecta, or
Yeah.
you submit it online?
You come in and we have a bunch of cards. You fill out the trifecta with the 3 horses you pick. You rip it in half. You got half for you as your receipt, half for us. If you win, you bring it up to us. We verify it. Give you a $1,000 gift card.
And this is at all 4 locations,
Yeah.
or just here?
Yep.
And
I think it's 500 at the pubs and 1,000 at the Southern.
and
Kitchens.
each one has its own separate
Yeah.
prize.
Okay.
Man, this is something. It might require me to come here instead of Gulfstream. It seems like a
That's a great.
a,
that's
a
great
no
thing.
risk proposition where I can't lose hundreds of
Well,
dollars.
have you ever
but I
had the world's greatest drink, the mint julep?
julep.
That's-
It's Defo's favorite. What we're gonna do for Defo,
So terrible.
we're gonna get a great
It's
piece
not a
of
good
gefilte fish from Delaware and put it with a
Gefilte fish
mint
and
julep,
There you go.
and I will pay him some money if he
To
finishes
eat it.
both, and that would be
Absolutely.
something. But
You have to introduce the Mike Mayo Big Gulp.
There you go.
oh man, Kevin, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much, my man. Let us take our final break today, and then we'll come back to wrap up this edition of the Lunchbox after these words. Food from a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar, a great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan-crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to bashsouthernkitchen.com. Hey, it's Mayo here for Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Since 1951, for over 70 years, the home of freshness. I've been a customer for over 3 decades, and it's the place to go for poultry, steaks, meats, and of course, their unbelievable selection of fish and seafood. They've got it all. Key West pink shrimp, grouper, snapper, lobster, and of course, Florida stone crab claws of all sizes. Don't forget their famous fish dip and a full selection of prepared foods. It's located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, just across from the Seminole Classic Casino. Doug Carter and crew will take great care of you. Make sure to check out their weekly specials and daily catch online at DelawareChicken.com. Quality, value, freshness, that's the Delaware way. Tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food in a down-home setting